Welcome back, Thrivers. The question for this week is, are you growing or are you just coping? Because there is a big difference. For a long time, I thought I was healing. I was managing my emotions, staying busy, keeping it together. But one day, I had to stop and ask myself, am I really actually healing? Or am I just surviving in a way that looks better on the outside? And that, let me tell you, that realization hit me hard. So coping is necessary. When you've been through trauma, when life has handed you more than you should have had to carry, you learn how to cope. You find ways to function. And that's not a bad thing. But the problem is coping isn't the same as growing. Coping helps you get through the moment. Growing helps you move beyond it. Coping is like treading water. You're staying afloat, but you're still in the same place. Growing is learning how to swim to shore. So you're not just surviving, you're actually thriving. Psychologists talk about this a lot, how our nervous system learns to adapt to stress and trauma. Dr. Gabor Mate explains that many of the ways we cope, whether it's staying overly busy, people-pleasing, or shutting down, aren't necessarily healing us. They're just keeping us functional. And there's a term for this, and it's called functional freeze. It's when your body is still carrying trauma, but you found a way to manage it so well that even you don't even realize that you're stuck. And that's what I want to talk about today in our conversation, because I don't want you to just cope with your life. I want you to grow into the fullness of who you were meant to be. I remember a season in my life when I thought I had healed. I wasn't crying all the time anymore. I wasn't having breakdowns. I was holding it together, okay? But one day, someone asked me how I really was feeling, and I didn't even know how to answer that. I had spent so much time managing my emotions that I had stopped actually feeling them. And that's when I realized I wasn't growing. I was just surviving in a more acceptable way. I had built stronger walls, but I hadn't actually moved forward. That moment forced me to ask myself some hard questions. And I want to ask you those same questions today. Think about this. Are you truly healing or just managing your pain better? Do you feel free in your life or just functional? When was the last time you felt genuine joy, not just relief that things weren't falling apart? Because that is where the difference between coping and growing. So how do we start moving from just coping to actually growing? So far, this is what I've learned. Stop celebrating survival as the goal. It's okay to be proud of how far you've come, but don't get stuck there. Survival isn't the final destination. Thriving is. Learn to feel again. If you spent years just managing it, you might feel weird to actually sit with your emotions, but growth happens when you stop numbing and start processing. Challenge the patterns that keep you stuck. Maybe you overwork to avoid your feelings. Maybe you avoid deep connections because they feel too risky. Pay attention to those patterns. They tell you where growth needs to happen. Please get comfortable with discomfort. Growth isn't always pretty. Sometimes it means sitting with hard truths, facing fears, and pushing past what feels safe. But that's where real transformation happens. Listen, you are more than your survival story. You are meant to live, to expand, to become. Coping got you here, and I honor that. But growing, that's what's going to take you to the next level of your healing, your peace, your purpose. So as we wrap this up, I want you to ask yourself, what's one step that I can take today to move from surviving to thriving? If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And if you haven't yet subscribed, be a part of this community. Talk to me in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts surrounding this topic. Remember, we're not just here to heal. We're here to grow. Until next time, take care of yourself. please remember, you are worth it.